Welcome to TRN Podcast, episode 160. Today we're taking a closer look at the unseasonably warm weather we've seen at the start of May, particularly here in Bavaria and other parts of Germany. Reports mentioned record warmth and, well, a noticeable lack of rain. So the big question is, what are the immediate consequences of this early heat? And, what's the bigger picture here?
Absolutely. It's been quite remarkable, hasn't it? We had such a sunny, almost summery start to May, not just in Bavaria either. The May Day holiday and even the Wednesday before it were just bathed in sunshine. It really makes you wonder about the effects immediately and maybe longer term.
Exactly. Here in Bavaria, the German Weather Service reported temperatures up to 27 degrees Celsius just on Wednesday. And the holiday itself was pretty similar, lots of sun in most areas. Apparently only the Bavarian highlands were a bit cloudier, but still expected to stay dry.
And the temperatures.
They climbed up to 23 degrees in the Bavarian forest and, get this, 29 degrees on the lower Main. That's really quite something for the beginning of May.
And if you look beyond Bavaria, we see a very similar pattern across large parts of Germany. Around the Rhine area, they were actually looking at possibly hitting 30 degrees. Lower Saxony and Bremen also saw temperatures climb up to 27 degrees.
Wow.
Yeah, and Hesse reported between 25 and 29. Berlin and Brandenburg were around 24 to 28. And Rheinland-Palatinate and Saarland also hit that 25 to 30 degree mark. A real taste of summer, you could say.
But this early taste, it seems like it's not going to stick around for long, is it? There's already talk of a weather shift coming.
That's right. Starting tomorrow, Friday, a cold front is expected to move into the north, bringing showers and cooler air. And even here in the south, things are set to cool down by the weekend. So this little early summer intermezzo, as it's being called, is drawing to a close.
An intermezzo, huh?
Yeah, there's even talk of sort of early ice saints, that period often in mid-May known for cooler, windy weather, maybe even frost.
Right, the ice saints. So a bit of a snapback. But what makes this early warmth particularly interesting, I think, is that it comes after such an extremely dry period. At least that's the story here in Bavaria.
That's a really crucial point. This warm spell isn't happening in isolation. Both March and April were unusually dry in Bavaria. April in particular was significantly warmer and sunnier than average, with, well, very little rain. It points towards a persistent spring dryness that really started back in March.
The figures really back that up, don't they? In April, Bavaria apparently only got about a third of its long-term average rainfall. Just a third. And at the same time, the average temperature was 10.4 degrees Celsius, which is way above the long-term average of 7.0 degrees.
That's a big jump.
It makes this April one of the 10 warmest in Bavaria since records began back in 1881. That's quite significant.
Absolutely. And when you look at the specific rainfall numbers, it becomes even clearer. On average, April saw only about 24 liters of rain per square meter, the long-term average, around 70 liters.
It's different.
And in some parts of Upper Bavaria, they received as little as 5 to 10 liters. Just imagine. Plus, we had about 240 hours of sunshine compared to the average of 154. So, yeah, a major deviation from the norm.
And this extreme dryness, of course, has direct consequences. We're hearing about the increased risk of wildfires. That's a serious concern, especially right now when so many people want to be out enjoying nature.
Definitely. The prolonged dry conditions significantly raise the wildfire risk in parts of Bavaria. Lower Franconia seems particularly affected. They've actually scheduled aerial surveillance flights there from Thursday through Sunday. The idea is to spot any potential fires really early. Volunteer pilots are helping out, working with foresters and firefighters.
That sounds like a vital precaution.
It really is.
Especially, with the holiday and the nice weather, we're drawing lots of people into the forest. It's just so important for everyone to be extremely careful. No open flames, no smoking. Everyone really needs to take that seriously.
And the German Weather Service backs this up. They've assessed the wildfire danger as high level 4 out of 5 on their index in many parts of Lower Franconia and other areas of Bavaria, too. So these surveillance flights are a very sensible measure to allow for rapid response if something does start.
Okay, so wildfire risk is one major consequence. But besides that, we should probably also mention the high UV radiation levels, shouldn't we? With all this sunshine, that's definitely something to keep in mind.
That's right. The UV index can be quite high already, so it's really important that you protect yourself with sunscreen, especially if you have sensitive skin or maybe if you just haven't spent much time outdoors recently. It's easy to get caught out and end up with a sunburn otherwise.
Right. So let's quickly recap. We've had this unusually warm, very dry start to May, following an already dry April. This has led to a heightened wildfire risk, particularly noticeable here in Bavaria. But this warm spell is temporary, with a shift to cooler, possibly unsettled weather expected soon.
Exactly. And perhaps a final thought to consider is how these kinds of early warm periods, especially when combined with prolonged dryness, might impact our environment and daily lives in the longer run. Even as the immediate weather pattern changes again, it's certainly a trend worth watching.